Can we watch the MrGirl video? Yeah, we're about to watch it right now. That's what we're doing right now. All right. So somebody had sent me this video the other day, and we were reviewing another segment. And they just kept spamming sending it to me while I was doing another segment to a point where it annoyed me, and I decided to remove them from my chat. Okay. It was annoying. Okay. You know, I get you guys have things that you want to show me, but oh my God, when you spam it over and over and over again, it drives me crazy. It just drives me crazy. Anyway, this is another video about MrGirl. To be absolutely honest with you, man, not a big fan. From a lot of the things that I've seen about this person, I don't think that they're a very good person. I understand people aren't perfect, and I think we've all made mistakes before. The thing is that from everything that I've seen, he doesn't seem to be somebody who actually truly like has changed, if that's makes any sense. He just seems like he knows what he should and shouldn't do. He comes off as incredibly manipulative. I don't really think it's somebody that's like worth watching. I've seen him talk about like his past, how in the past he has been abusive to his partners, and it doesn't even seem like he changed because or physically abusive. It doesn't even seem like he's changed because he was wrong. It just seems like, I remember, specifically remember him saying something along the lines of like, oh, I realized that when I would do this, people wouldn't genuinely listen to me. They wouldn't listen to me. They just would say what I wanted to hear. So I stopped. It's like, that doesn't sound like you stopped because it was wrong. It sounded like you stopped because you weren't getting what you wanted out of the situation. This is a person I don't like. I think that they're very manipulative. I think that they're smart enough to be manipulative. But I don't think they're a good person. So anyway, let's watch this video. You're my real doll review. Let's get this going.
You put on makeup.
Yeah.
I don't like makeup.
I know.
Why do you do this?
I don't.
I also think that this whole like ridiculous aspect of like trying to make it seem like there's some kind of level of artistic nature to it is just like so stupid. Like somehow he thinks that like the abuse that he you know, I guess propagates in his life is somehow like quirky and fun to some extent. I don't know. Like it's artistic. Like this is, I don't know. The fact that you're not ashamed of these type of behavior and it doesn't seem to change, just it screams a red flag to me.
Like how sad I look all the time.
You're gonna get nice and perky for the video?
Mm-hmm.
You think that's what people don't like about you in my videos? That you're just too sad? You think that's why people criticize me? Because you're so sad that they feel like...
I think it's part of it.
I mean, even it feels abusive to me. Like people don't like you because you're too sad, but you're open about how you continue to verbally abuse them. So like, you're obviously the problem. Jesus Christ, this guy's such a piece of shit.
And I think, especially people who knew me before I met you, I think I wore a lot of makeup to hide that.
That's how they think that you're sad. Because of me.
Right.
Oh boy. Yeah. I'm gonna lose this game. But... It's alright, I don't really like this anyway.
They don't understand how happy I make you.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure she looks
they don't understand me. No one fucking understands me.
Okay, so you've been pretty upset with me for the last few days.
Okay.
Because I said that you were my sex doll.
Right.
Do you want to talk? You want to tell people what happened?
Well, I think what happened was that you leapt into bed with me, gave me a little cuddle, and then said, you're my real sex doll.
I wonder why
and
that
I was
upsets
like,
her.
no. And you were like, yes, you are. And I was like, well, no, I don't like that you're saying that. It's freaking me out. I think, I think that...
It's interesting because like when I objectify my wife, she actually likes it a lot. That's just what she likes. She like enjoys it. I mean, she knows I respect her, so there's probably a difference there. Because it seems like from what he doesn't seem like the kind of person that respects his partner. especially if he's open about being continuously, you know, verbally abusive and says that like, oh well, they consent to it, which is incredible. So maybe that's part of it.
That you may have done this in response to me saying I was a little bit like anxious and needed some reassurance about the sex doll. Is that true, or was I just thinking that?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I think I was thinking that, and I may have said it.
Well, I don't remember.
I don't like that though, because because I think, although yes, because we're in a monogamous relationship, technically I am the only possible real sex doll. The implication is that I don't get to have any boundaries or set any limits,
You know
which
you know what it is?
makes me freak out. What?
It's not that you don't get to have any limits. It's that there's a limit to your limits.
Well, yeah. Come here, bud.
You have to have sex with me. Eventually.
I mean, just that the whole orange thing, it's obviously very intentional. It's supposed to be some kind of like stupid artistic choice. I mean, like the obvious here is like she doesn't have to have sex with him, but generally in like a relationship, like the only person you can have sex with is your partner. So I think that's what. Well, I mean, if I'm being charitable, that's what he's trying to say. But
Well, I think so, but is that true? You would just break up with me if I said we couldn't have sex anymore?
It's not that I would just break up with you. I just think our relationship would either change to a platonic relationship, in which case it would no longer be our relationship, or would fall apart somehow. But one way or the other, in order to keep our relationship...
So sex is essential.
yeah, that's true.
In order to keep our relationship as a romantic relationship, you have to have sex with me. Especially, if I'm not allowed to have sex with anybody else, you can't just make me never have sex.
Right.
Sure.
So you have to have sex with me. So you can have boundaries to a point. You can say no for a certain number of times.
Okay.
Yeah, but
You have to get me off.
yeah, and that's fine. But
No, you have to.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, see, this is like the annoying thing. Like, I just the content is just like so grotesque. It's so annoying. It's like the most childish, like fucking unintelligent content ever. He literally creates content and he talks about these topics that you could say are fairly nuanced, but he just does his best to make it as uncomfortable and awkward and like literally rapey as possible. It's just like it's so tired. It's so boring. It's also kind of pathetic, and it's also very clear that like you don't respect your partner. All right, the fact that you're calling her a sex doll and she's taking it so personally just signals to me that you're just like disrespectful to your partner constantly, and you're like a worthless piece of shit, which is already kind of we already know is true. What was the point of this video? To like stylize how like toxic you are? I don't really understand. Why is this like content to you? I really just don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't understand what's the big draw to just being a dumb fuck. I really don't get it.
But I just think that the implication of it is scary.
What's that?
Well, sex dolls get raped. They don't have any choice. They have no autonomy.
That's what I'm
They just
saying, is
lie
that-
there.
Okay. I prefer it when you just lie there. And I think what I've discovered through this sex doll thing, I thought this was great. Because I know you get upset when I tell you to just lie there.
Sort of. Yes and no.
No. You get upset when I say just lie face down and don't move. You get upset.
Sort of. Yes and no.
What do you mean yes and no?
I mean, it's upsetting on the one hand. On
Okay.
the other hand...
I'm talking about the hand that it's upsetting on.
Okay.
Okay. Can I just talk
Go
without
ahead.
you trying to control what I'm saying?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Can you not say go ahead? Can you just shut up and just let me...
Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. Like this weird, like controlling situation. I really don't know why that she stays with him at this point. Jesus Christ, I'm like not paying enough attention. Okay.
Even that is just annoying. I would just like to speak, and then when I'm done, then you can speak. Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
I don't understand the creation of this video. I really don't understand. There is a level of like pride in being like an abusive person. I don't get it. I really don't understand it. Right? Obviously, you shouldn't be abusive, right? And hiding it is bad, right? But the fact that you're proud of it enough to put it on a video, it's like, yeah, this is just me. I'm a piece of shit who is like so controlling over my partner. It's like really funny. This is something like he's proud of it. Like that's what it comes down to. There's a pride in it. It's just like, what a loser. It's just so fucking stupid.
Well, since you get upset when I tell you to just lie there and not move, and the doll's going to do that anyway, it would be interesting to see what it's like for me to just fuck the doll, because the doll always does what I want it to do. And because I don't like it when you move when we're having sex. I don't like it, the part that's for me. Like if I'm like, I just want what I want to fuck you. I'm not picturing you being like, oh yeah, me. I just want you to not move, and I want you to lie there face down and be quiet and be still. So I was thinking maybe the doll will make you jealous, and then you'll want to do that more, or maybe it'll be an outlet for me. I think whatever.
So what? Wait, so is he saying that part of the reason he bought the doll is to make her jealous of him having sex with the doll? Listen, you're allowed to, you know, you do you. If you want to sleep with somebody and you don't want them to interact, like fine, like that's your prerogative. But it's so weird that you bought the doll to try to an extent, make her jealous, or as an outlet. Which at the outlet, it's fine, but like to make her jealous of a doll, this is what?
I've realized with my sickening sexual experiences with the doll is that it doesn't really mean anything if the doll's lying still. It's not letting me have my way with it. It's not doing anything for me. When we've talked about this before. I know it's for me when you are just not doing anything. When you're not moaning, you're not like, oh, I know it's for me when you're not making it about yourself. And you have a tendency to make lots of things about yourself. I have a tendency to be very sensitive. If something's 89% for me, but 11% for you, I feel like it's just for you. Because you have
Wow, just the language here is like very manipulative and abusive, like manipulative. Okay, so this is what's bothering
when you're not making it about yourself.
So he's talking about how he doesn't like her moaning because it makes it about herself too much, and he's trying to like put this, like assert that that it's about her and that it's selfish for her. And then he goes on to say if something is 89% for him and 11% for someone else, it's still too much for them. So like he's the selfish person trying to make the argument that she's selfish. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Percent for me, but 11% for you. I feel like it's just for you. Because you have a way of work, you fit 90% into that 11%. You have a way of really making that undermine the rest of it. Mm-hmm. And then when it's not for you, you get upset. And then I know it's for me. And so I realized the doll, you said the doll's going to cuck you, but the doll's cucking me. I'm taking that slave owner part of me, and I'm just taking it out on the doll, leaving you in the clear. I want an agreement where you will regularly lie still for me.
I see. So it's an act of service.
I don't give a fuck what you call it. The more you talk, the more you ruin it. Because you're going to say, oh, I like doing an act of service. It's his love language. Okay, well, I can see how. Just shut the fuck up. I just want you to shut up and lie still. I don't want you to talk about it. I don't want to hear the mental gymnastics that you go through to try to absorb it into your nexus of manipulation. I just want you to lie down.
Bro, what nexus of manipulation? She literally, so we're at a point now where she literally can't even say like, oh yeah, like, you know what, I like servicing my partner, and if that's what gets you off, I like it. No, he can't even handle that because he legitimately wants to, like, listen, everybody has their kinks, and there are CNC kinks, like consensual non-consent kinks. This doesn't really read as that to me. This reads as doing as much as possible to actually try to physically engage in raping somebody. Obviously, it's still consensual, but, like, it's really bizarre. And it's also every single time. I mean...
Face down and be very still and very quiet until I'm done. And I want you to do this on a regular basis.
What does that mean?
Once every 2 weeks. To start.
Well, that doesn't seem that bad.
Cry once a week.
So MrGirl has very dry humor. It's hard to tell when he's being serious. I'm like kind of tired of like the it's just a joke kind of a thing, because every single time someone's like, oh, are you just kidding? He's like, no, I'm being serious. At this point, like, who cares? What was that you just said? I'm pretty sure he's being serious. Like he is like, listen, he's like the artistic type. I've known people like this. Like they think that they're very special individuals, and they think that their life is like very artistic. They think that they can draw meaning from almost everything in their life, even their abuse, and they somehow think that it's a vulnerability and that they're brave for doing it. When the reality is they're just an abusive piece of shit that's like really self-absorbed, and they want people to understand that. Right, so every single time someone's like, "Oh my God, you're so real. You're such an honest person." He's not. He's manipulative, and he's happy that you dumb fucks are falling for it. That's what it comes down to.
2 weeks. To start.
Let me mute those. Sorry.
User Bunghole just resubscribed for 2 months. Didn't know bro was this toxic. Feel kinda sad for her.
Yeah, me too. 2 weeks.
Oh, it doesn't seem that bad.
Okay, once a week.
Well, that seems bad.
Good. Let's do that. Once every 2 weeks.
Well, you just said.
I was joking about increasing the frequency because you said it didn't seem that bad. See, I don't want to be thinking about your needs all the time.
I see. You don't want to care if it's that bad.
That's your job.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's normal. Like, it's normal for occasionally partners to not want to care about the other person's needs. Sometimes it's totally fun. Like everybody engages in selfish sex sometimes. That's fun. And just the presentation of this feels a lot shittier and toxic.
If you're like, oh, I don't want to get fucked in the ass, but you can do it every...
Scare the cat.
Oh, no. If you're like, oh, I don't want to get fucked in the ass, but you can do it every day. You can do it every day, but I don't want to. That's not my problem. I want fucking to be a lot more like jacking off. Sometimes.
Well, I know.
Okay, so once every 2 weeks?
I don't know. I will have to think about this.
That's already more often when we have sex.
Yes, that's why I need to think about it.
Well, what can you do now? What can you commit to? Yeah,
I wonder why they only have sex that often. I wonder if it is because one of them has a low sex drive, or if it's because, well, maybe he's not really attracted to her because she's not somebody that he can constantly rape, or if he scares her or something. I don't really know.
Well, for sure once a month, I would say.
Starting when?
Now? I don't know.
Right now?
Have we technically had our thing for April yet, or we have to fit it in the
Right
next
now?
day? Huh?
Right now?
Well, sure. But the question is, what months are we going by? The calendar month? Well, it's kind of important.
Not really, because it's April 29th. So it doesn't really matter.
Well, it does matter.
Jalen, you see how controlling you are?
No, it's fucking knowing what you're agreeing to.
How controlling you are, dude. Don't. Just stop. Okay. All right.
If I'm supposed to agree to once a month, and we need to fit one in real quick in the next day and a half, I think I should know that. You don't think so? Do you not get what I'm saying, or am I not getting what you're saying? I don't understand what's going on.
I get what you're saying.
So then why are you not responding?
Because it feels like you're being controlling, and it's upsetting.
Well,
It's interesting how he thinks that just because he feels a certain way that it's valid. Like, oh, it feels like you're being controlling. Okay, it says she's not being controlling. You have a very bizarre dynamic when it comes to negotiating sex. Like, it's really weird. It's very, like, I don't know. It seems too planned to me. Whatever. So she just wants to get the details down because you're forcing her to engage in sex that she finds incredibly displeasing. And you're being controlling about it. It's like, okay, you're quite literally being the controlling one.
I suppose so. Well, we can just wait to start it until next month then.
Okay.
Great.
Feels like you're being controlling. You're ruining it.
Well, this is the thing, is I'm not an actual sex doll.
Would you have agreed to doing it tonight and next month?
Probably not tonight, maybe tomorrow.
Okay, so what does it matter which way we choose? What does it matter how we count it?
Well, I have to know what it is.
Why?
Well, you can't just spring stuff like that on me. Maybe you want to, but
No, I didn't say I want to be able to do it whenever I say. We said once a month. That means I can't just do it whenever I say. But do you see, you're changing what we're agreeing to be something that you will fight and complain about, and now you're saying no to something I didn't ask.
Well, I think that in making an agreement...
I don't care. I don't care what you think. I want you to stop. I just want you to stop.
Well, I don't think we can make an agreement.
Why? You will agree to every version of the agreement. So all it's turning into, it's like if you're like, hey, shut up. It's like if you're like, hey, do you want to get pizza? And I'm like, well, which hand are you going to take the pizza out of the box with? This whole conversation is just all about whether or not we are going to have sex tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay.
What's the problem with that?
And so what
this sounds like to me is that she just wants to get the detail down because she doesn't want to actually do this, but she's going to do it for him. So like, obviously it's consensual, but she doesn't want to do this. So it's like an emotional preparation for things. I feel like everybody's there where like everybody kind of like prepares to do a thing. And maybe this is just me exclusively, but for me, like if I go out with my wife and we're like, oh, let's do this thing. For me, it's a little weird sometimes when we do something that's like not scheduled. Sometimes it gets like uncomfortable. Like I've prepared myself. Like, oh, I prepared myself to go to the movies today. And she's like, well, what if we do this too? I'm like, let's go mini golfing. And sometimes I have a difficulty being spontaneous. Now, maybe that's just like something that's for me. It's something that I'm working on. But that's just kind of how it feels like. It's just like, oh, I want to have like a plan, especially for something that she really doesn't want to do. Like sometimes I have these really bizarre interactions where it's not even that I don't want to do a thing. It's just that I haven't prepared for the thing. I know that sounds so fucking stupid. And God bless my wife because she's so good about it too. She's like, oh, I get it. You didn't plan for it. Like you're not like emotionally ready for it. Which means that like when I do things more spontaneously, she's like, oh, this is cool. Like she likes it more because I'm stepping outside of a comfort zone. Now I'm rambling, obviously, but you get what I'm saying. So that's all she's trying to do. Now I don't know if it's this girl probably just doesn't understand this, but the fact that he doesn't understand this, he doesn't really care to understand this. I don't think that he really gives a shit about the people that he talks to or dates in any real capacity. So like, why not just ask her the question? Like, why? Like, it's just she wants to be able to have like an understanding of this bizarre arrangement that you're setting up.
Turning this into by not just saying like, yes, let's start on May 1st. Do you see how that would be actually you asserting what you want and asserting your version of it, but also would not make the entire conversation about you and your discomfort and your fucking complaining? Or you could have said, well, April's running out. So if we're doing this in April, that means once tomorrow and then once next month. But you're not saying that either. You're pretending that you're like waffling or something.
Why don't you? So this is what I find really interesting. Why don't you just set the agreement yourself and have her agree to it? Why does she need to control the entire? It's bizarre that you're being so ambiguous about it when you could be like, how about we do it once tomorrow and then at the end of every month? Let's just say that that's what it is. Why aren't you proposing the idea? Why do you keep like badgering her? Because it sounds like you're trying to give her the control just so that you can call her controlling.
Or that you're really concerned, and so you're like, well, I have a question. I really need to know this, Max. Which you do every fucking time there's anything that I'm in charge of. Every time we're filming something, you're like, hey, do you want me? Should I wear this shirt? And I'm like, I don't fucking care what shirt you wear. Please.
Dude, this is.
Every time we're filming something, you're like, hey, do you want me? Should I wear this shirt?
So it sounds like they regularly engage in this practice where she checks everything with him, probably because he's very controlling. And then the second that she tries to do something for herself, he goes, oh my God, you're so controlling. Well, it's like a lose-lose game here. It truly is just a lose-lose game here.
And I'm like, I don't fucking care what shirt you wear. Please shut up and just sit in the chair. And you're like, fine. It's a control grab. It's a power grab.
What?
Come here, buddy. Okay, well, let's start on May 1st then. And we will just do it by month.
Okay, so from May 1st. Okay, do you see what I'm saying about you being controlling?
Yes, I do.
What?
Now,
with what? Because she said let's do it on May 1st? This guy's actually like a fucking idiot.
You see what I'm saying, or do you agree that that's happening?
I see what you're saying.
But you don't think that's happening?
It's not happening. You're fucking... Honestly, I genuinely wish I could ask this girl, why do you stay with him? Like, what is the draw? I don't understand, because it seems like he regularly is just incredibly abusive and manipulative. So I don't understand. He told Destiny that he will never tell his kid that he loves him. Is that real? Okay. It's one of the, what's really interesting about this is that like a lot of people are like, oh, I think this is fake. I think it's fake. If it was fake, okay, maybe it is. I very highly doubt it. I've seen him say like, no, I'm being very serious. It's very interesting to me that they repeat that a lot of you guys are so quick to like want to brush it off because it's like really fucked up and you just don't want to like believe that this is a real thing. That's what's being relayed to me. That's what I'm like picking up from people saying that. It's like, wow, this is really fucked up. This is probably satire. It's like, no, it's not.
Right. I think you can frame it as controlling. I don't agree with that characterization.
You don't agree with the decision to frame you as controlling?
Yeah, I don't either.
Well, I'm getting a bit frustrated because it feels like you have misled me a bit here. You agreed, you told me that we were having an interview about the sex doll.
Yeah.
And you're like asking me to agree to a sex schedule, which we kind of already rejected and tried once.
Okay.
And I don't know.
So it's interesting that he classifies like a lot of like the way that she interacts as a power move. When that's a power move, that is like a literal power move. He's like, oh, let's do a video about the sex doll that I've been fucking, and then he tries to set up a sexual schedule that he's tried to do before and unsuccessfully. So like I don't understand. That's a literal power move. I mean, you're pulling the rug out from under your partner. I don't understand. I really just don't understand.
Just feels like I'm open to trying that again, but like, you're gonna put this in a video.
Why is he discussing it on camera? Because I think that he is abusive. I think he's narcissistic, and I also think that he thinks that he's very quirky. That's the thing, is that like he thinks that his life's very artistic, and he likes to assign this this label of like artistic nature coming from his content because it validates him, it makes him feel better as a person. Makes him feel like worthwhile, but he's not. He's a worthless person. This isn't artistic. It's just abusive, and people don't really call it out because they, for the most part, they've tuned out after the whole pedophilic shit that he said about cuties. And then other people are like, "Wow, I appreciate your honesty," because those people are dumb. The people who think that that they appreciate his honesty, you're a dumb person. You know, listen, people can be abusive and change that if they actually want to change. People have anger problems. People have their own issues. He doesn't care. I don't know. He just doesn't care. Like literally, this just reinforces like oh yeah, I don't hit my partners anymore because it doesn't get me what I want. It just gets them to say what they think I want to hear. Like I don't think he doesn't make any moves for his partner. There's very clearly there's nothing that's like motivating to actually want to satisfy his partner in any capacity.
And I feel uncomfortable because I'm already in a very uncomfortable position of like not wanting people to fucking say our relationship is abusive. But you're like berating me about asking you a question about.
Very clearly, I mean, it very clearly is.
You asking me to agree to sex on a regular basis.
Unless this isn't an honest representation of their relationship.
And be a sex doll.
No, I'm not berating you about asking me a question.
I asked you a question, you're saying that I'm being too controlling, so it seems like.
Do you think that you can be too controlling by asking questions?
I do.
That's sort of a dumb fuck. That's just oh my god. That's just like yeah. This is what I'm talking about with how manipulative he is.
Controlling. So
I'm not berating you about asking me a question.
I asked you a question. You're saying that I'm being too controlling. So it seems like.
Do you think that you can be too controlling by asking questions?
So it's like a really dumb argument here. So he's removing the nuance intentionally. Anybody can be controlling by asking too many questions or asking questions. Yes, anybody can do that. Fundamentally speaking, that doesn't mean that it always applies. I don't understand. This is what I'm talking about. It's like such like dumb fuck language. It doesn't really matter as long as he argues in a way where he gets what he wants. I mean, that's really what it boils down to.
I do, but you.
Okay, so the fact that it had a question mark at the end doesn't really determine whether it's controlling or not. Are we doing it monthly? Are we doing calendar month or every 30 days? That's not designed to actually get information out of me. It's just designed to put me in a new role of putting soothing balm on your upset emotions. And what I don't want to do, I don't want to be in the role of rubbing balm on your emotions. I don't want to do that right now. I want you to do that for yourself, and I will do it for myself.
I don't want to do this. I am quitting the interview, and I do not want any of this to be in the fucking video.
Well, it's a good thing that they listen to that. Listen, I've done segments with my wife before, and after we've done whole segments, she's like, "Listen, I don't want you to put it out because it upsets her. Like we talk about topics that are triggering to her, especially." And she's like, "Please, I don't want to talk." And I just don't do it. And I don't push afterwards because that's disrespectful, right? So what probably happened at some point, either in this interview or after, either one, he just said, "I don't care, I'm going to put it up," or two, afterwards, he just kept badgering her until she was like, "Okay, I'll put it up." That just shows a fundamental lack of respect for his partner. I mean, it's just like stupid.
Okay. Because I'm asking you about sex plans?
Well, because you're
because
being
you are
manipulative to her.
shirking a role that you have agreed to take, I believe, throughout our relationship. Stop talking while I'm talking. You have agreed to a role in the past that is assumed you will continue to be in for this conversation as well if we're on camera together. And you can disagree with that. I don't care.
Every conversation we have on camera is me trying to get out of this role.
I don't care.
Would you agree with that?
No, I don't.
You don't think every conversation is me saying, like, no. Why can't you just say no or set your boundaries or just admit to what's happening instead of trying to get me to do it for you? I feel like every conversation we film ends up being about this exact topic of me not wanting to be in this role.
Yes.
The role of... I'm trying to understand. So he wants her to put herself in a role where she advocates for her boundaries better with him. But it doesn't seem like there's ever an end to it. Right? So he's like, I want to have sex with you like you're a doll. Once a month. And she's like, okay, when do you want to start? And then he has a fucking meltdown about it. He's like, oh no, that's for you to decide. Stop asking me these questions because you don't want an answer, like, right? So he's just berating her. Then she says, okay, we'll do it at the beginning of every month. And then he continues to berate her for being too controlling. He's just complaining about fucking everything. There's no winning with this person. I mean, it must be a fucking nightmare to date him. Truly. I truly don't understand. I genuinely wonder why she doesn't leave him, because this is a fucking insane relationship.
I don't want it to be a default.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'm saying you can't escape that because you have all the power, and I don't agree to it. And you are trying to say...
So we can't have a real conversation?
No, not one that's filmed. You are always in the position of control.
Yes.
Yes.
Right, and you won't let me actually be in control.
No, I'm saying that as the person in control, you also have to be the caretaker to some extent.
No.
Yes, I know. You're saying no.
Yes.
And I'm saying yes. We've already been over this.
Okay, so then...
Okay. So now she's affirming the boundary. She's advocating for herself and affirming this boundary that you told her that she should set. So now what's your reaction?
So that's what I think is happening.
Yeah.
On top of that, you are...
And now he's getting very frustrated and uncomfortable, and he would probably hit her if it would get what he wants. But I don't think that he thinks it would get him what he wants, so he's not going to do it. That's what's happening right now. Because I know what that look looks like. I do. I know what that look is.
Already kind of pushing my boundaries by asking me to do this.
I'm pushing your boundaries by asking you a question. By asking you for...
You just asserted that you can be like controlling or whatever by asking questions. So, like, it's fucking
something sexual. I'm pushing your boundaries.
No, what you're asking me to do sexually pushes my sexual boundaries.
No, asking you to do something doesn't push your boundaries.
Okay, you can say whatever you want.
Yes, because you could just say no.
I understand.
I could ask you if I could drive a car up your ass, and you could say no or yes. It's not pushing your boundaries to ask you for something.
Okay, you're just not...
Well, it quite literally is pushing boundaries to ask somebody for something. It's like a dumb thing. In relationships, any relationship, people push boundaries all the time. You'll ask to push boundaries. That's how you respectfully push a boundary. Like, let's just say, for instance, you want to have anal sex with your partner, and she has established that she's not a big fan of it. And you say, like, hey, can we do this tonight? You're pushing a boundary. She can still consent to it, absolutely. But that's still pushing a boundary. That's what he's doing with her by asking her to have, like, lifeless sex with him. I just don't understand where this profound unintelligence comes from. He seems to just get incredibly fucking stupid the second that he doesn't get his way. He's like a fucking child.
Not listening.
What do you mean by pushing your boundaries? It's not pushing your boundaries to ask you for something sexual. That's not pushing.
You're not asking for something sexual. You're asking for something that's like been established as not like part of your sexual norm. Those are two very different things. I wonder if I'm gonna win this round.
Asking me for something sexual on camera is pushing my boundaries. If I had known you were going to do that, I probably would have addressed that before we fucking got on camera, but I didn't know you were gonna do that. You're saying I could just say no, but you don't actually understand because the way that you operate is different from me. And also, the way that the camera affects me, the way that the crowd affects me is very different. I am not comfortable with that, and you don't care, and you are actively trying to get out of the role of giving a shit about that. And my answer to that is no.
It's not that I don't give a shit.
I understand that you're distinguishing it differently. To me, that is what it translates as.
I understand that, but it has to be somebody's responsibility.
That's fine. I understand.
Your sexual boundaries have to be somebody's responsibility.
Yes,
and you want them to be mine.
When we are on camera,
and want them to be mine and not yours.
Yes, when we're on camera,
yes,
to some degree, you are also agreeing to look out for me. Yes, you are.
Looking out for you is different from being solely responsible.
I don't think
for
that
your
you're
boundaries.
solely responsible.
Well, then where were you?
So very clearly part of her issue is the fact that she doesn't like being filmed and she gets very uncomfortable. Something that I understand. Again, my partner feels the same way. She's uncomfortable getting filmed. And so when we're filming, like for me, a lot of times of course you're going to run damage control for her too. She's uncomfortable. So I talk to, you know, I'll if I pick up on when my wife's getting upset, like I try to tone it down. I don't understand why these things are so difficult for him to grab. Well, they're not. He just doesn't care. Yeah, it's very manipulative.
What have you done for your own boundaries throughout this conversation?
This part.
Okay, so now you're here. Except you're ending the conversation. So again,
because you told
she was constantly trying to establish a boundary when you guys would have this type of sex the entire time. I don't. Your argument doesn't exist.
me I could get the fuck out.
Yes.
Right. So you threatened me.
I didn't.
And said if I want fucking boundaries.
It's not threatening you to tell you don't have to talk to me. That's not a threat.
It is a threat.
What is the threat? What am I threatening to do?
It's emotionally cutting me off from a project you asked me to be part of because I had some boundaries with you or asked you to
you're
be
not,
in a role you have agreed to.
That's not how boundaries work. You're trying to force me to do something. That's not what a boundary is. A boundary is, hey, babe, I really want to be part of your project. I'm so flattered that you thought that filming this interview would be so nice for your project. But you know what? I don't want to negotiate sex plans with you on camera.
So it's very interesting that he doesn't like the way she establishes boundaries. If he's like, hey, if she says like, I don't want to do this, it's very uncomfortable and you know that, that's not good enough for him. To him, she has to be incredibly nice and sensitive to his feelings about the project. Like, hey, babe, you're amazing, but this doesn't make me super comfortable. All right. To me, based on the way that he interacts, I doubt if it's even genuine. It's just a shift of the goalpost. It's always going to be something that she's not doing correctly. So it's just more like manipulative bullshit here.
So if that's required, I'm going to have to leave the interview if that's the only thing that we can talk about. So was that your whole plan? Or can we talk about this later? You know, hi guys, we're going to talk about this later. But for right now, I really just want to talk to you about the doll or whatever else you were thinking. But I don't want to do this right now. That would be you setting a boundary. And then if I say, no, I really need to do this, or that's it, that's all I can do, then you would say, oh, well, okay, well then I guess I have to leave the interview. But it's not a threat for me to remind you that you don't have to do anything I tell you. It's not a threat. You're the one saying we have to do the interview.
Okay.
And that we have to do it the way you want.
I understand. What? You're saying it. I don't think there is a way for you to have me on camera on your channel without doing that.
Okay.
Okay, well, if that's how it is, then I don't see what else there is to talk about.
You're still trying to pressure me into doing what you want me to do.
Yes, I want you to do what I fucking said.
I need you to find a way to negotiate things with me that is not you trying to manipulate or pressure me into doing things that you want me to do. You've already defined this entire conversation as out of bounds, but you didn't mean that. Or you did mean it for a second, but now you've taken it back. And it's like all over. I never know what I'm allowed to be doing or what I'm allowed to be saying, or if I'm allowed to be fucking raping you while you lie face down quietly, or if I'm not allowed to do it. And that's the whole point, is that every time we fuck, I don't know if I'm actually allowed to be fucking you. I don't know if I'm supposed to be fucking you.
What?
And I need to feel like I'm allowed to do it. I'm supposed to do it. You can cry. You got some extra leather left over from your projects. Make yourself a little bit to bite down on, and you can fucking deal with it. I want to know that whatever you feel while I'm fucking you is your problem.
I know.
Okay.
Okay, now I understand exactly what's happening. So he wants to have sex with her in a way where she's not a human being, but he doesn't want to feel guilty for doing that. So he needs her to understand that that's her problem, and he needs her to give him a pass that he doesn't have to feel guilty. That's what he's trying to say. I mean, I don't even know what to say at that point. I mean, so you're identifying and understanding that your partner effectively hates what we're talking about right now. But you need like permission, you need permission to be abusive, basically. Okay.
And same with this conversation.
I don't want to make agreements about our sex life on camera.
Or off camera.
Or off camera.
Okay.
That's true.
Okay. So are you rescinding our agreement?
I rescind, well, I don't know.
Right.
I don't want...
You like having a semi-agreement. You don't even want to agree that we don't have an agreement. Do you see how that leaves me feeling like I don't know where I stand with you?
I do. I truly understand.
Do you know how pathetic?
And sure, it's really fun. Stop! Stop.
Do you know how pathetic it is? No, I'm allowed to do this. This I'm allowed to do.
No one's saying you're not allowed. I just want you to stop.
I don't know if he's doing that to try to clear the air in the room to try to like make her smile, or if he's doing it to make her upset, because he established before that one of the reasons he got the doll in the first place was to make her jealous so that she might be more inclined to fuck him. So like, you know, I don't even know what the meaning of that interaction is.
And you can't stop me.
I know.
Only Renee can stop me, and she can't move or talk.
I know.
Do you know how pathetic it makes me feel and emasculated that I don't get to know if I'm allowed to be in this conversation, if I'm allowed to be making this movie, if I'm allowed to do anything except fuck this corpse?
Yes, I understand. I truly understand. You can clearly see, I think, that I want to provide this for you.
You have to. You have to.
Again, you didn't say no.
You have to.
I don't have to.
I need it.
I know.
I need you.
I know.
I need you.
But even just the way you're framing it makes it feel rapey.
It is. That's the problem that's the problem with relationships.
Well, it sucks.
It sucks.
It sucks because I don't do this to you. I don't think.
That's funny. That's rich. I can be warm to you. If you can be vulnerable in a way that is not making me into the bad guy. But if you start throwing me under the bus, and you start making me out to be the abusive psycho, I am going to get very defensive. Can we agree to that?
I don't know. I mean, the problem is that you are making me out to be an abusive psycho. I was not calling you out for anything. I was asking you for fucking clarification.
When things get more explicit,
it is abusive of you to do that.
No, it's not abusive for me to call you abusive, you fucking monster.
I mean, Jesus Christ. He really is. I really don't. I keep asking this question. I don't understand why she stays with him. I really don't get it. Because he's very clearly like a worthless person. I don't really get it.
I'm asking you.
He's very clearly like the manipulator in this relationship, and he's effectively gaslit her into thinking that she's manipulative, which is a situation I've been in before. It's very interesting though, because like we get like an inside, look at the interaction. So like we can all tell that he's very clearly the manipulator. In most relationships, this is something that happens in private. And then usually the dynamic of the actual manipulative person telling the non-manipulative person that they're manipulative is usually more hidden and obviously less seen by most people. So they could just be like, yeah, my so-and-so is so bad to me all the time. Like and then people are like, wow, you're the victim. And then they look at that partner in a bad light.
The way you make people think I'm abusive without saying the word abusive or by doing anything explicit. It's a very subtle.
It's incredible because every interaction I've seen him in makes me feel he's abusive. So I don't know what the fuck he's even going on about.
Throwing under the bus, but it's happening. And I know it's happening.
I can't listen to you. I need to take a break.
Okay. Do you want to play Smash?
No, I just want to be alone.
Just the fact that he's so casual in this conversation while she's like very clearly very upset. I mean, that's just very like with every other factor in there is just like very revealing to me. Do you want to play Smash? Like obviously she's just like very upset and she needs a break, but like what is a break to you? You have like a child's interpretation of what a break means.
Okay. Can you tell me how much time is left on that camera?
677 minutes.
But why even leave that in there? Because he's done so many cuts. Like this is him intentionally editing it so that when she starts crying, he starts to laugh. Why not cut that out? Like, why are you so proud of like how abusive you are? I don't understand it. Why the stylistic shot of your cat licking its fucking balls or whatever? Like, all these choices are very intentional because to him it's like very artistic. Oh man, like look at this. Like let's do a jump cut to the cat licking itself. Like that's like it's a style. It's like an artistic choice. It's very stylistic, guys. It's very quirky. I think I lost here. I just did. Yeah. I don't understand what's so funny to this guy.
I don't think I can do this.
Okay.
I don't know, but I don't know if I can do it another day or if I just can't do it.
So, what I find interesting here is that she's saying, like, I don't know if I could even do it another day, which means that she knows that he expects her to do it. And now she's not just trying to get it out of it this time. She's like, I don't think I could do this in general. Oh, this is like ridiculous. Wow. Okay. What a class act, huh? And then, of course, we got to get her. She's crying and she's having like she's upset. But what he needs to do is he wants to make sure that he gets her in a shot, sitting there crying, because it makes this entire production look really cool. It really ties it up to get her crying, staring straight while he gets a side shot of her. Like that's really important to his piece, his artwork. That's very important, and that's obviously the priority. Not the distress that his partner's in, but the fact that this needs to look just a little better. Jesus Christ. Oh, of course, for him consoling her as well. What a beautiful ending, guys. Everything's okay. No one's actually abusive. Jesus Christ, dude. I guess this is like the living embodiment of like a trauma mod. I'm actually like genuinely, like this is like frustrating. This is insane. I mean, this guy's a real scumfuck piece of shit. Holy fuck. This guy's actually fuck. You know, it's so funny because I saw a clip on Twitter one time of somebody like, I'm not going to talk to MrGirl if he's in this panel. And they were like, oh, what a loser. No, I totally get it. Like, this is a genuinely bad person. Jesus Christ. So he effectively puts her in a position where she gets like incredibly emotionally like frustrated and distressed, effectively, and then he consoles her. What a great dynamic! I remember him talking about how when he was physically abusive to people in the past, how afterwards it was a really good opportunity for the two of them to bond over it. Like, oh my God, that person was such a bad person. That's the way that he put it. He's doing it again. This is something that he seems to do a lot. He creates this dependency by being manipulative and abusive to his partner and then being the only superhero that they have. I wouldn't doubt it if he's like driven wedges between other relationships that the person has, like whether it's like family or friends, just so that there's nobody else for her to go to, so that she has to go to him. Yep, and we got to make sure that we get the doll in the shot. Jesus Christ, what a fucking piece of shit. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and another special shout out to all my Patreon and Twitch subs. If you'd like to support this channel further than you already have by just watching the video alone, go down to the links below where you can sub on my Patreon, which will allow you to get your name on this beautiful black wall. Or you can go to the Twitch page and you can actually use a free Amazon Prime sub, if you have Amazon Prime, to subscribe. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.